Hey guys, welcome back to another Fallout 76 build on the channel. I'm V, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my new ghost ship build that I made in a custom world here in the game. So the first thing that I really wanted to talk about was my inspiration for this build. Initially, I wasn't even intending to make a Halloween build for this year just because I already have kind of a backlog of builds that need to be recorded that I just haven't gotten around to yet. But I decided to just go ahead and make this one anyway because there was a photograph that I saw on Pinterest and it just kind of got into my head, and I was like, I wonder if I could build that in the game in Fallout. By the way, here on the map you can see the location for this build is in the Cranberry Bog. I am in a custom world, but this is not a location that you have to be in a custom world to build in. I actually built something in this location last year at Halloween time and I never ended up finishing it, so I already knew of this spot and I really liked it because of the fog over the water. It's very cool. So I realized that I said the first thing I wanted to talk about was my inspiration, and I haven't even started talking about that yet. But before the footage goes on too much further, I just wanted to kind of explain what you're going to be seeing. So I'm basically just going to be walking around the build and occasionally picking up certain items, going into free cam mode, showing you the inside of the ship, the outside, how I pieced different items together, how I put them together, I should say, and yeah, just kind of trying to give you a better idea of how many different merges there are in here and how I created it, I guess. So yeah, now that we kind of have that out of the way, I can talk a little bit about my inspiration for this build, which I believe I already said was a photograph that I saw on Pinterest, which is true. It was a sculpture of a ship, and the style of it was very gothic, dark, creepy, but just like insanely detailed, so intricate, ornate, like just beautiful. There were like skeletons everywhere and skulls. There was like a huge skeleton holding up the front part of it, I think. And that was definitely my main inspiration. I just wanted it to be covered in skulls and bones and ornate kind of detailing. I went through the build menu so many times just looking for anything that was gold or brass or, carved wood or like intricately detailed anything. And I found as many parts and pieces as I could that kind of fit that feeling and just like put them all together to make this ship. So I'm going to be putting all of the artist links in the description, so please do check him out. I know that he does both sculptures as well as tattoos, and I believe on Instagram the name is Shallow Grave Studios. But again, that will all be in the description, as well as a link to my Pinterest, which I will have a board that has a bunch of different photos that I was looking at for inspiration, not just that artist, but other real ships, as well as just like ghost ships, illustrations that other people made, and anything that I could look at that was going to help me figure out how a ship is made, because I know nothing about ships. This is as much as I know about ships, is what I have here. So the footage that you're seeing now is basically just showing how I used all of these different roof pieces to kind of create this bordered edge on the exterior in different places. I used a combination of the gold winding path set, the new building set that we just got, as well as the rest in pieces set in order to get those vines hanging down. I just kind of used the edges of those for the vines only. And as you can see, it's just a pile of roofs on the interior part of the ship here. Clearly there's no like below deck living space, and I just realized as I was building that that just wasn't going to be a part of the build. In order to get the look on the outside that I wanted, I had to just kind of fill up this space with all of these slanted roof pieces, because those are the ones that I needed in order to get the look that I was going for. But that actually ended up working out really well for me, because since I had this huge open interior space that nobody was ever going to be able to see, well, except for you guys, um, but I was able to merge a lot of items into it and not have to worry about like what the back part of it was, or um, just use the top of item on the upper deck area, which you'll see in a minute. And then of course on the interior space is where I put a lot of the lights. So you can see around the edges there I have a bunch of the red cycling lights, and I wanted the ship to kind of look like it was just glowing red from within, and so I use those a lot on the edges of the ship, and then also a lot on the front and the back. Yeah, I don't know what the names are for the ship. I know that ship names are not front and back. I'm not a pirate, okay? But I did definitely try to make my character look like she could be a ghost ship occupant of some kind. I don't know. I put her in this dress with the skull mask, and I feel like she fits the vibe. So now that we are successfully above deck, we can kind of do a little walkthrough and check out some of the different merges that I did, some of the different areas that I really love. The first one here is this little treasure chest with a pile of gold, and I am really happy with how this one turned out. I think it's so cute, and even looking at it from below is really funny because I had to use all of these different gold statues, Vault Boy statues, in order to kind of get this gold pile look, and that one was really fun to do. So you will kind of see as we go along that I've used a lot of different crops in this build, mostly the ones that have vines. So I used a few melons here and there, even though I was trying to pick them before I recorded it because I didn't want the actual melon in the video, just the vine. And also the vine is purple when there's no melon, and it's just brown when there is a melon. So that's not really important. But I also have like a lot of gourds everywhere and blackberries, and I will get into more detail about the issues with crops in a custom world build in a moment. But for now, we're gonna look here at this little treasure map area. You can see that I have that mannequin underneath so that I could have a little pirate hat sitting on the ground, and that table is called, I believe, the cartography table, and so it has this map on top of it, and I just kind of wanted the map itself to be sitting on the floor basically. And you can see here that I have this little pyrotechnic thing inside of the cannon so that it will explode. I also have this cannon on the front that I tried to camouflage as much as possible because it's red, white, and blue, and that one also explodes with red, white, and blue smoke, which is not ideal for this build, but it's okay. I just demonstrated it anyway. So now we are going to move along to the masts of the ship, and yes, I did Google that before I decided to say it because I wasn't entirely sure that it was the correct word, but now I'm almost sure that it's the right word. But anyway, the design of the masts was initially inspired by that sculpture that I was talking about. It had these, I was going to say spires, but they're masts. So they were just these round balconies kind of all over, and there were no sails or anything like that. And so for this design, I decided to add a little bit more of a ship type feel, like obviously this wouldn't be a functional ship because there are no sails, but it doesn't have to be a functional ship because it's a ghost ship and it can just float and it's fine. But I did look at photos or images of ghost ships, and a lot of them had these just like ropes hanging down from the masts and just kind of like spread out over the ship, and it kind of just looked like remnants of something, or just an old wooden ship, basically. I really don't know what I'm talking about, but we are going to move on. So you've kind of been seeing this footage of me kind of pulling apart what would be the entrance to the below deck area, or maybe the captain's quarters or something like that. It's just made up of a ton of different pieces. The main part of it is the armoire that we got recently. I don't remember what that was from. And then I put a green cycling light on the inside just to kind of give a contrast, because most of the lights in the build are either candles, which are yellow. I don't know why I told you that, as if you need to know what color candles are. But I used the candles and the red lights, and so to give a little contrast again, I used that green light, and it also kind of gave this creepy feeling of just like this green glow emanating from below deck or something. I don't know. That piece there that I'm standing on top of is actually the other rest in pieces roof piece that has the big chunky on it, if you know what I'm talking about. I think you know what I'm talking about. But on the back part of the ship here, this is where I was going to talk a little bit more about the crop situation. So if you're going to be building with crops, most likely just in a custom world, because you're not able to use them anywhere other than dirt in adventure mode. But if you are going to build with them, I would suggest placing them last, because they are the only thing that the game wants to select once you have them in there. And so this footage here is just kind of a demonstration of how you can use free cam mode to get inside an object to be able to select it. Even if you think that it's stuck and you have no way of selecting something, I would highly recommend going into free cam mode and basically getting completely inside the object and like moving the camera around. Sometimes it's only like a split second that it will select it, and you kind of have to keep an eye on the top right hand corner to see the name to make sure it's the right thing. But it usually does work, so I thought I would at least put that footage in here so you can maybe use that in the future in case you get something stuck in your camp. In this case, it would have been really easy to just remove the crops and then continue building and then put them in last, but I didn't want to do that. That was irritating to me, so I just did it the way that I did it. The hard way. That's the way that I like to do it. So you could see there that I used that flagpole just to get the very top part of it. That is a gold ball. Again, like I said earlier, I was kind of looking through the build menu a million times, looking at just the sides of things or the tops of things to see what I could sink down into this deck area, because it was just the perfect place for that. So here you can see all of the things that I put down onto this chest. There's a mannequin with a lobster trap helmet. That was, I believe that was a reward for some kind of event that we had a while back, but I don't really remember what that was. And then on either side of this wheel area, I have this spooky well, and I would say probably about 90% of the time that animation with the ghosty does not work, but I just happened to catch it at least once for the footage of the little ghosty happening. But yeah, most of the time it does not work. So this last little bit of footage is maybe going to be a little bit weird. I'm not really sure what the point of it is, but I think I was trying to just show how I placed the floors in, and where I placed the floors was really determined by where like the highest point of the roofs were sticking up on the underside. So I didn't really have a lot of choice in that. I just kind of had to cover them up as much as possible. And right there is a little anchor thing. I don't know, I tried to make it look like a little anchor hole. I don't want to say that, but I did. So that is basically it. I think this is just the final overview of the build. I really hope that you have enjoyed checking out this build as much as I enjoyed making it. This one was really fun for me, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. I think that it was the perfect spooky season build to do. I'm glad that I did one because I almost didn't. And yeah, I really want to say thank you so much for watching. If you made it to this point, like, can I give you a cookie? I don't know. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm thinking about doing a little Halloween stream over on Twitch, and I will update with details when I have them, because I don't right now, but I will eventually. And other than that, I hope you all have a lovely Halloween, and we'll see you soon. Bye.